Yeah, he's not here.
Okay.
Well, I got it on the airplane. You know how that is.
So you were like the Three Musketeers.
Okay. A videographer left. Okay. Call the meeting to order. Roll call of the council.
Russ Brown. Darcy Long Curtis.
Here.
Tim McLaughlin.
Here.
Linda Miller.
Here.
Tanner Elliott absent. Mayor Lawrence.
Here. Please join me in pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda, and I don't think there are any changes, so do I have a motion in that regard?
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Do I have been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented? Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda is approved. Before we go into presentation proclamations, I just want to thank Tim for stepping in when I was still sitting in the dentist chair like 4 o'clock in Portland. So thank you. Short notice. First presentation proclamation is Northern Wasco County School District 21 bond measure update.
Hello, I'm Ernie Blatz. I've been on the North Wasco County School District School Board for a long time.
Yes.
And so what I'm here for is to kind of update you on what we're up to and what we're trying to accomplish. And I'm going to give you a little history of what we're working with. So our schools, we have 3,000 students. We have 289 teachers in classrooms, staff, 8 counselors, and 12 administrators. We've got 3 elementary schools, 1 middle school, a high school, and 2 community schools. So, over the years, we've been working very hard at trying to improve our education, how we deliver education, how the student gets to learn properly. And we've been doing some great job, and our teachers and staff have been working very hard. And so like our graduation rate has been up to 87.1% over the last few years, so that's climbed. Our dropout rate has declined. And so we've got teachers and staff that have won awards. Nick Nelson was named 2017 Oregon High School Principal of the Year by the Oregon Association of Secondary School Administrators. Chenoweth Elementary School music teacher Corin Parker received Excellence in the Elementary Music Education Teacher of the Year Award in 2017. The Dalles Middle School Principal Sandra Harris was named 2018 Oregon Outstanding Administrator in Support of Music Education. So we've been working hard at doing a better job at educating the kids. And so one of the things we've noticed over the years is that our kind of buildings are kind of getting a little bit old. And so, like the high school, the high school was built in 1940. Chenoweth Elementary was built in 1961. Wetumpka Community School was 1965. Colonel Wright was 1924. Mosier Community School was 1920. Dry Hollow Elementary was 1960, and our newest building, the Dalles Middle School, was built in 2003. So, needless to say, these buildings aren't really up to code like they should be. They have some issues. The equipment inside to operate the building is getting old. We had to go on eBay one time to find a part for a Dry Hollow on the electrical issues in order to fix the problem that we had. So parts are getting scarce to keep up the buildings and do the job we need to do. So and we're doing add-ons like with the portables, so we can add on more classroom space, but we can't add on more gym space or cafeteria space. So in some of our buildings, we're running lunch from like 10 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon, just so we can fit all our kids through the cafeteria. So we're looking at those things and we're trying to figure out what's the best way to address our issues. And so in the past, in the community, if you had an issue for a building, you would go for a bond for one building, and you would take 15 to 20 years to pay that bond off. If I was to stay with the old-fashioned way of doing it, it would take me 100 years to replace all the buildings that I need to replace. So we were trying to figure out a better way to do it, and so what we came up with is a one-time ask for the authorization to spend $235 million over the next 50 years to rebuild the buildings. And so what we can do with that is to start with the high school, rebuild the high school first, then rebuild the grade school. Every 4 to 5 years, we'd be able to release some more of the bonds. So we won't get the 235 right up front. We will get the authorization to release them over the next 50 years. And so we've got a bond oversight committee that we're working on putting together so they can help advise the board. And so depending on how things move along, we may be able to go release some more bonds in 4 years or 5 years, but we'll have an extra group helping us make those decisions. So right now, we also have a master planning committee for the high school. So what this group is doing is looking at how the new building may lay out on the Wetumpka site. And so that's actually in the newspaper tonight. You should get a chance to read the articles. There's some great pictures there also. And so then we proceed, accordingly. And so what we're doing also is trying to get the information out. Because at this point, the district hasn't officially said we're going for a bond in November of 2018. That's our goal, but over the next few months, we're gonna be taking a poll and trying to see if the community's behind us or not. And so a year ago, we took a poll, and it was very general questions on should we do something or not do anything. And we had 48% approval saying, yeah, you need to do something. So probably in another month or so, we'll take another survey, and we'll have more specific questions now that we've fine-tuned this process a little bit. So the goal is to get 55% voter approval before we commit to putting it on the bond, because if we can't get that, then we're not really sure we're going to pass the bond. So we want the community to know what we're doing and know why we're doing it. And if they have any questions, feel free to contact us And let us know. We've got a website on this that we're taking information, people can ask questions. And we're plugging away, we're moving ahead. And so this is huge for this community. But it'll be great if we pass it, because we'll be looking at new buildings. We've had different people say that they have trouble bringing employers, their employees to town, because they drive by and look at the school buildings and go, oh man, they don't even go in the buildings, they just look at it and go, no, I don't want my kids going here, and so I don't wanna work here. So this'll be huge, and we'll be able to replace, buildings every 4 to 5 years, and it's a huge thing, and we're looking for all the support we can get, and if you have any questions, I can try and answer them.
You just had one, you said 50 years?
50 years, yeah.
And the document says build 4 new schools over the next 20 years. Then what would happen in the remaining 30, or is that
You-
something?
Take that to pay off the bond. So you'll be
Okay.
paying some down as you go,
Mhm.
and so as you pay some down, then the 4 to 5 years, you'll be able to add on some more. And again, so you keep it at $299 $1,000, and so the old former District 12 is paying roughly $1.65, so it would go, there would go up to $1.34. And then the old former District 9, they're not paying anything on school-related bonds, so theirs would go from 0 to $299.
But right now, your plan is to complete those 4 new schools within the 20 years.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else have any?
Where did the $299 come from? Where did that figure, how was it derived?
It was the maximum we felt comfortable to ask for. It's a very conservative number to get what we're trying to accomplish with the $299.
Building costs going up all the time, I trust you factored that in.
Yes, we have. So there's different things that may occur over the next 15, 20 years, 30 years, that would help relieve the tax cost. So if a bigger company came on the tax rolls, or more houses got sold, that would help relieve the tax.
What about the Watauga, the Chenoweth Middle School property?
The Chenoweth Middle School property, at this point, we're looking at that to put the Chenoweth Elementary School on it. Right now, because our goal is to clear off the Watauga site and put the new high school in all the fields that we can squeeze in on that site. And so if we do that, then we have to move the Chenoweth Elementary School. And so the middle school property up there is our best spot.
This place is the community school? Isn't it community school right now in the
Watauga campus?
Yes, there's the.
Where would that go?
We're working with them, and they're working on options to find another place, and so everybody's working on trying to figure this out. So there's people looking and trying to make different decisions.
We just went to DC to do a little lobbying, and Randy Anderson was in our group, and I heard that the Gorge line, the Gorge Commission line, goes between the building and the parking structure at the old middle school. Is that correct?
That's correct. And so,
But as long as you continue to use it as a school, then you're grandfathered in, right?
correct.
Okay.
And so when they drew the line the first time, our
Mhm.
school was already there.
Yeah,
And they drew it right through the parking lot.
yeah.
And so we went and talked to them, and they explained that, yeah, as long as we're still using it, then we can build whatever we wanna build up there as far as the
Okay.
school facilities, and we don't have to stay with the same footprint. So it gives us a lot of leeway, so it'll be exciting when we get to that point.
Good. Okay. Anybody else? Are you ready?
Thank you very much, and have a nice night.
Yep, you
Can I
do.
ask something? We're trying to get the word out as far and wide as we can, so if anybody on the commission, on the council, or in the audience has a group they'd like us to present to, we would be happy to come and visit.
Okay.
Is it the District 21 site? If you were referencing there's information available online, is it the District 21 site, or is there a better?
NorthWascoBond.org.
Okay, perfect, and it's right here on this handout? Awesome, thank you.
Kevin Mansfield? And you have another gentleman with you, what's your name?
Joining in, I'm Chad Swanson.
Chad Swanson.
Yeah, I'm a nurse with Mid-Columbia Medical Center.
Oh, you are? Oh, good. So let me read this proclamation. City of the Dallas Proclamation, 2018, Parkinson's Awareness Month. Parkinson's disease is a chronic progressive neurological disease and is the second most common neurodegenerative disease in the United States. Parkinson's disease is the 14th leading cause of death in the United States, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. There are millions of Americans who are caregivers, family members, and friends greatly impacted by Parkinson's disease. There's no known cure or drug to slow or halt the progression of the disease, and available treatments are limited in their ability to address patients' medical needs and remain effective over time. Increased research, education, and community support services are needed to find more effective treatments and to provide access to quality care to those living with the disease today. Therefore, I, Mayor Stephen E. Lawrence of the City of the Dalles, do hereby proclaim April as Parkinson's Awareness Month in the Dalles. I want to get that to you.
Thank you very much.
You bet. And
I'd like to thank the mayor and city council for declaring the Dalles as April as National Parkinson's Awareness Month. I myself have Parkinson's. I was diagnosed in 2001 and put out of the workforce. When I went to my neurologist to be told what I had, all she said is that I have Parkinson's, come see me in 6 months. So, not knowing what it was, I went online, which is a bad thing to do. And all it does is tell you about all the advanced stages. I found Parkinson's Resources of Oregon. They asked me if I would like to join a support group, and I said yes. And I've been a facilitator for the last 16 years with Parkinson's Resources. I brought Chad here with me. He is your local Parkinson's facilitator for here in the Dalles. So him and his group very much appreciate this proclamation. I'm also a public policy advocate for the Michael J. Fox Foundation. I've been doing this for about 5 years. I go and I talk to our representatives and to our senators, educating them on the needs of Parkinson's, what laws we need to have passed. I also was just in Washington, D.C. last week.
I was there.
Yeah, we were supposed to go up on Hill Day, and we got snowed out.
Yeah.
So we did our Hill Day from the motel that we were staying at. We made all of our phone calls. Members were in, even though they closed the government down to snow, they still had work to do. They answered their phones. We tweeted them, and with us, along with everyone else that we asked to help out, we sent over 3,000 emails to our members of Congress. So again, I would like to thank the mayor and city council for giving us this award. It's very much appreciated.
Would you like to say anything?
Well, my brief background in Parkinson's, I don't have Parkinson's, but I ran an exercise program in Portland for 10 years. Moved out here to work as a nurse and started the program, the support group right up. We've been doing that now for about 9 years, and look for later this summer starting an exercise program as well. All down at Water's Edge, right by the bridge. So, and I've got flyers in my card if you want to talk to me afterwards. I'll talk to you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is audience participation. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject which does not later appear on the agenda. 5 minutes per person will be allowed. If a response by the city is requested, the speaker will be referred to the city manager for further action. The issue may appear on a future meeting agenda or city council consideration. Anyone wish to address the council today? Yes, sir.
My name is John Frederick. I live at 1614, or 614 West 7th Place here in the Dalles. I'd like to talk tonight a little bit about freedom of speech. I was very concerned that we as a country, a state, and community can no longer have an honest, open dialogue on issues. What's going on today in Washington DC, Salem, Oregon, and for that matter, state capitals across our country, and right here in our own town, is wrong. One example in today's headlines is the attack on law-abiding gun owners, blaming gun owners for the acts of criminal thugs, who in fact, if they didn't have a gun, would find some other means for their violence. We also have some people who think freedom of speech trumps, their freedom of speech trumps those of others based on their feelings. I found it interesting reviewing the video stream of the city council meeting of February 26th. The defense of Ms. Long Curtis' rights to her freedom of speech was made by her attorney, Brad Timmons, for public comments she had made. Ms. Long Curtis outright attacked me and worked with the Chronicle in an attempt to silence me just because I have a different view. That is wrong. While I fully agree with Mr. Timmons and Ms. Long Curtis of her freedom of speech, I find it a double standard when others with a different view are attacked for the views and opinions as I was. I have a greater concern for when people take words and statements out of context of an entire conversation, as was done in public by Ms. Long Curtis. All I'm looking for is for decisions that are based on sound principles, facts, and values that are properly vetted. Thank you.
Anybody else? Sir?
My name is Glenn Handelman. I live at 405 West 14th Street. I have a suggestion for the city. Since we don't have a name for the boat landing, I'd like to put into the discussion and see if other people have other ideas, that we call it Windquat Landing.
Windquat?
Windquat. And I think it'd be pretty nice to have where you could say Lewis and Clark Festival Park at Windquat Landing.
Yeah.
I think something like that would sound nice. Yeah. And since we're heading for a tourist economy, I think that is, it's on the brochures, instead of saying they're just gonna land at the Dalles, it says they'll land at Windquat Landing in the Dalles.
It's very interesting you say that, because if you ride on the American Empress, they've got historians, and as you come up the river, all the way up, they give the history of, you know, Lewis and Clark and the different landings, so that would be really appropriate. That would be very interesting. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's all I got.
City manager has written it down. All right. Anyone else? All right, next report is city manager report.
Oh, I do not have a report tonight.
All right, city attorney report.
Thank you, Mayor Lawrence. I have a couple items for the council's information. I shared with you on Friday that Izette and I are working on the codification process, and we've gotten through 9 of the chapters as of today. I sent my comments back to the company this afternoon, and the last part we'll be working on is the land use ordinance, which is rather sizable, but I think we're going to try to get that done this week. But so far, the format looks very good. I've only found just a few little minor corrections, certainly nothing major, so our goal is to get that back to them this week, and I don't know how soon they'll turn around the final version, but a couple of weeks maybe. So we're still on track, I think, to have it done in April, but it's looking really good.
Okay.
Today we got a final document associated with closing out the grant for the flex space hangar that we've been waiting from the state of Washington. So the person that has been working with us on the financial part about the payment of wages was waiting for that, and we'll be applying the final payment here. It's about $450,000 was the balance of the grant to get that taken care of.
That will end the grant?
It should, yes.
Okay.
Other than just as the final paperwork we have to keep on track. But
Thank you.
that'll be the final payment, and we've been waiting to get that.
All right.
Last document came in today.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Brown.
I have nothing.
Councilwoman Long Curtis.
So
So since the last meeting, I attended the homelessness meeting over at the senior center, and it was led by CAP. And so there were 3 of us there actually from the city council, and they decided that they wanted to ask some specific questions about policy, so I went ahead and left so that the other 2 could talk. It was actually a good thing that happened because I had a chance to visit with the person at the front desk, and she was expressing her frustration about not really being able to do anything. And so we had a really lovely conversation in which she sort of talked herself around, and I led her to the fact that she's already doing something, that she talks to them and offers them help. And so she's decided that that's what she's gonna do, is just be a nice human being. I also attended the Main Street Downtown Branding meeting, and I thought that was very well organized, and it's just getting a kickoff. So if you have businesses downtown, be sure to talk to Jeremiah at Main Street. I also met with a citizen who was interested in turning a tragedy that her family has had here in the Dalles into something good for the community, and we've set up a meeting to meet with Chief Ashmore. I also met with Joel Manson from Mid-Columbia Housing Authority and just talked a little bit about the difference between low-income housing and also affordable housing. Just needed to clarify some things for myself. So I think that's a very good discussion and timely based on the agenda tonight. I also attended the Q Life meeting. We are looking for a new board member. And I attended the government affairs meeting where they talked about the situation at Norcor and ICE. That was very informative, and if you have questions about that, there are plenty of people in town who'd be happy to talk to. And finally on, I guess it was Saturday, Russ and I attended a function over at the airport. I sort of want to call it a ribbon cutting, except there was no ribbon. And so they basically had all the Washington people over to celebrate, and Representative Jamie Herrera Butler, who is their representative, came and talked with everybody, so, thank you.
Tim, were you at the homes meeting?
Yes, I did
Okay.
attend. And it seemed to be well attended, and there was much interest in the discussion, so.
What I'm looking for is, what's the next step? Can you impart that to us?
I think there's a process.
Okay.
I think having CAP, because of their background, and also they had developed a plan many years ago that I reviewed, and it seems sound. It's a good basis to start from, and I think we can work from there and then gather more people through the process. So I thought it was a good first step. So other things that, understanding that a public restroom is on the docket, a loo in the Dalles, so it's similar to.
A loo?
A loo.
Does everybody know what a loo is?
It's a public bathroom, and.
Pretty, right?
Yeah, they are structured around European. They have basically it's vandal-proof, and it's made out of metal, and you can see underneath. So that's, they're moving forward on that and looking at that. Other things, basically, I think that's probably what came out of that meeting predominantly. Then I did attend an airport last Friday, and the Life Flight open house that was planned for 24th has been postponed. Chuck, are you here?
Yes.
When is that planned for the new?
It's planned for April 21st. The CEO of Life Flight, Mike Griffith, is able to make it that day, so that's what they've asked us to reschedule it to. So.
And as far as the airport, I can tell you, if you look in the sky, the number of the air traffic around our communities just seems to be exponentially increased. And the air traffic to the airport has increased. I saw 4 military helicopters last weekend, I think, fly over. So there are some growing pains, there are some changes, but those are being worked out and good plans are happening. So Having Life Flight as part of this airport is a life provider for a lot of people. If you have to have it, it's great to have it in our backyard and our community. So for those of Life Flight that are listening, thank you very much for being here. And that's my report.
Councilwoman Miller.
I also attended the homeless meeting, and there were a couple of things that came out. They're trying to set up two different avenues, one for housing and the other for the criminal aspect of homelessness. And it didn't get much farther than that evening. I also attended a household hazardous waste commission meeting. And again, the major topic is recycling. I don't know how, actually recycling there's less and less of it going to be happening because there's no market for it at this time. I attended the Google open house. That was interesting. Since we won't be able to go again, took the opportunity when it could. Attended the Dallas Sister City Association. They're trying to firm up for the delegations coming here, because there's going to be an official delegation to celebrate 30 years as a sister city with Miyoshi City in Japan. And for the students that are coming over, and for the delegation that's going, the official delegation that's going to Japan. And there will also be a booth at the Cherry Festival for the Dallas Sister City. Attended Urban Renewal meeting last Tuesday evening that went on and on and on, but a lot of discussion. And then I met with Mark Linebarger, and we had some topics to discuss and some clarification.
Okay. In lieu of my report, I'm going to read a statement tonight. When citizens decide to run for office or to accept an appointment to a commission or committee, they understand it puts them in the public eye. It also means they are subject to criticism and scrutiny. That is understood and accepted. There are rules, however, when a person is elected to city council that govern behavior. Each elected officer takes an oath and signs an agreement to follow those rules. We also know that news media should play an important role in reporting what happens at city council. They also have rules of press ethics to ask each time a story or opinion is written, is it fair, is it right, and is it true? Most often elected officials take the criticism, no matter how strong, in silence. There comes a point, however, when it's time to speak up. That time is now. It's my opinion that the Chronicle repeatedly publishes stories intended not to clarify or even criticize, but which are intended to sway public opinion, influence the political agenda, and to recast the truth into falsehoods. City council members and the public need to be vigilant not to be sucked into the vortex of this kind of journalism. There are around 14,650 citizens in the Dalles. The wonderful progress and economic growth that has occurred over the past few years is the result of many people pulling together. That means city employees, city council, myself, and the city manager, plus numerous partners throughout the community. There is a small vocal group, however, who want to divide this town into us and them, who want to mischaracterize the past, sow dissent, and capture the future for their own personal agendas. City government is actually based on doing everything for the greater good. In other words, representing all the citizens in a way that does the most good. The motto which appears at the bottom of every agenda is, by working together, we will provide services that enhance the vitality of the Dalles. I implore all citizens who want to learn the truth about what the city does, how it works, and the specifics behind each decision to watch closely these live streamings of meetings, listen to recordings online, read the minutes and the agendas and all the backup material attached. If you have questions, the email addresses and phone numbers of myself and all city council members are on the city webpage. The city manager is also available. The internet is full of gossip, rumors, and false comments from a lot of people who do not attend meetings, review documents, or ask questions. That is not where to find the truth, neither will you find it in the Chronicle. I implore all who care about the future of the Dalles to work together to continue the economic growth and celebrate the improved vitality of our downtown and renewed success of the Cascade Mall complex. Businesses are moving into the Dalles and onto the port. The airport is under new management and just celebrated the completion of Life Flight's new hangar. The college is planning an expansion which could have huge positive implications for the school system and Mid-Columbia area. MCMC has never been better. Google is celebrating its largest expansion, and new state transportation dollars will help bring fixed route bus service to the city in the very near future. The Dalles, in partnership with the Housing Authority, just received a $400,000 grant to assist in rehabilitating homes. Improving water security will come from completion of the Dog River Pipeline, an aquifer reservoir, and updating water lines and existing wells over the next several years. Downtown apartments will soon exist on 2nd Street, in the Honnold Building, and the Tokla Project, bringing residents who will live, work, and shop downtown, further improving our core economy. The wastewater facility improvement project will soon be completed, ensuring our ability to serve this growth for years to come, and all without raising rates. Streets will continue to be the highest priority, as will bicycle routes and pedestrian access. Tourism is a major component of our economy and must be managed intelligently so that it continues to grow in the best way possible. Our relationship with the American Empress Line has just been strengthened by a partnership with the Granada Theater. The continued impact of 111 scheduled tour boat dockings will help that growth with new opportunities for businesses, museums, and nonprofits. The enhanced music scene and brew pubs in the downtown area are also attracting new visitors. Ask any of the new business owners why they decided to start or move a business here, and you will find enthusiasm for the positive growth they see, and you will hear their hope for the future. There's much to do. Get behind the positive things that are happening, support the good work that is being done, criticize or disagree if you want, but do it honestly after you know all the facts. Next item on the agenda is consent agenda. This is, I have a copy for you, Izetta.
Thank you.
Items of a routine and non-controversial nature are placed on the consent agenda to allow the city council to spend its time and energy on the important items and issues. Any councilor may request an item be pulled from the consent agenda and be considered separately. Items pulled from the consent agenda will be placed on the agenda at the end of the action items section. The only thing we have on is the approval of the March 12, 2018 regular city council meeting minutes. Do I have a motion in that regard?
Move to approve the March 12th, 2018 minutes as presented.
Where's your microphone?
It's laying here on the table.
That's what I thought.
All right,
I don't get a fancy one like everybody else.
you can have this one, Russ. I'll go ahead and second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as stated. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Next item on the agenda is contract review board actions. Approval of amendment number 11 to Operations Management International, OMI, agreement to operate the wastewater treatment plant for fiscal year 2018-19 and granting a 5-year extension of the contract. Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of council. The current 10-year contract with OMI is expiring at the end of June of this year. In February of last year, City Council directed staff to negotiate a 5-year extension to that existing 10-year contract. Through that process, we've basically extended all the terms of the existing 10-year contract. And that, including all the CPI-based formulas for the annual calculation of any fee increases. Staff report provides a number of the tasks that are the responsibilities of OMI under that contract. I did want to point out that as an additional value-added element associated with the extension of this 10-year contract, OMI did provide a $15,000 firewall to the computer systems at the wastewater treatment plant. These were necessary to be installed, part of the upgrade project that we're doing, and so that the contractors that are doing the design and installation of the additions, the new controls for the systems we're building, could remotely access, and the SCADA system, which is our telemetry and monitoring system, wouldn't be compromised. So OMI provided that to the cities
At their cost.
at their cost.
That's great.
The proposed contract amount for 2018-19 is a 4% increase over the current year. That provides a management fee of $151,631 and a direct cost fee of $821,296. The 4% for the management fee is based upon the CPI-based formula that's in the contract. The 4% for the direct cost of work, or the operations side of it, are related to inflation and some additional costs that are anticipated to be incurred because of the improvements that we are installing. For example, the influent pump station that we've been working on, the new pumps are much, much larger than what was there. We're gonna be generating some power, but we're gonna be using more power, so we've got some inflation accounted for in that line item. The proposed 2018-19 budget has been prepared with $972,927 in the wastewater fund for the operation of the plant, and that is the amount that's being requested in this proposed contract amendment for the first year of operation. And therefore, it's staff's recommendation that the council move to authorize the city manager to sign an amendment number 11 to the OMI agreement in an amount not to exceed $972,927 and extending the term of the contract by 5 years. I would like to let the council know we do have staff from OMI here tonight. Also, you've heard us use interchangeably, I think over the years, OMI and CH2M were related entities. They've actually just been changed names again, so as we move forward, you're gonna hear us use the term Jacobs.
I thought that was a new name that he was taking.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Jacob is here today.
Jacob.
And so we talked about that during the contract renewal, whether we needed to change the name, but they still operated a number of different contracts under the OMI word name, so they didn't want to change it with this amendment.
I'm just curious about this statement that OMI also operates systems in neighboring communities. Biggs and Mosier, and the personnel costs of some employees there are shared among the three systems. Can you elaborate? I mean, I'm just curious.
Yeah,
It's really good, you know.
So this is Rick Wolf, he's our project manager for the plant here in town.
Thank you. Thank you for an opportunity to address the council. So we do operate out of our Dalles office here, the Mosier wastewater treatment system, and also the Biggs service district out of Biggs. And so we share some of our staff here with those facilities. And when they are not at this facility, they're being billed against that facility, so it keeps our labor costs down.
Okay.
And because it's hard to divide up a half of a person if you don't have somewhere else to bill the other half. Well, in this case, we do have some place to bill that other half of an FTE, and so that lowers your labor costs.
And earlier today, I asked Dave about our revenue from increased sewer use or charges to sufficiently cover this 4%, and you answered in the affirmative?
That's correct. We've had enough increase in usage revenues from actually all classes, residential, commercial, and industrial. And since we're completing the wastewater treatment plant project, we're not having to transfer quite as much to reserve. So we put together the proposed 18-19 budget without a proposed rate increase. That's
Right.
Right.
All right. Any other questions?
No.
Do we have a motion?
Yes. I will move to authorize the city manager to sign amendment number 11 to the OMI agreement in the amount not to exceed $972,927 and extending the term of the contract by 5 years.
Did we get a second?
Yes.
Oh, the quiet one over there.
Russ Brown.
Moved and seconded to accept the recommendation to authorize the city manager to sign amendment number 11 to the OMI agreement in an amount not to exceed $972,927 and extending the term of the contract by 5 years. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is general ordinance number 1366. Yeah, amending general ordinance number, well, I'm not gonna read all of them. Anyway, specifying a fixed system development charge credit for nonprofit and governmental entities. So I need a presentation by staff, is that you?
Yes, I'll be handling that. So Mayor Lawrence, we have one ordinance that have provisions for a lot of our system development charges for water, wastewater, drainage, streets, flood control, and parks, and our transportation SDC ordinance also. Both of these ordinances has a provision that allows the council to grant a credit up to an amount not to exceed 50% of the applicable SDC charge for any development projects that's submitted by a nonprofit corporation or agency or subdivision of the federal, state, or local government. Back in September of last year, the council had a discussion about whether they wanted to change that provision. Looked at a variety of options, including trying to establish some objective criteria to determine the amount of credit, also whether the credit should be gone away with. The direction of the council following that discussion was to have staff prepare orders that would establish a fixed percentage, and we've done that with general orders number 18-1366, which would set the rate at 25% of the applicable SDC. We chose this amount, which is equivalent to the amount of the credit that is allowed for non-residential development that results in the creation of new and permanent full-time jobs, so that's where the 25% came from. We posted notice of the adoption of the ordinance in accordance with the city charter, so you can adopt it by title only if you're to do so.
All right, well, first, any questions of the report?
No, I appreciate this direction because I was probably the one that brought this forward the most, just in fairness and equity, and I approve of what I see here.
Okay, so at this time, does anyone in the council desire to have the ordinance read in full?
No.
All right. City clerk, would you read the title of the ordinance?
General ordinance number 18-1366, an ordinance amending general ordinance number 06-1266, 07-1286, and 06-1287, specifying a fixed system development charge credit for nonprofit and governmental entities.
All right, could I have a motion to adopt the ordinance by title only?
Move to adopt general ordinance number 18-1366, amending general ordinance number 06-1266, 07-1286, and 07-1287, specifying a fixed system development charge credit for nonprofit and governmental entities.
By title
By
only?
title only.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, moved and seconded to pass, adopt general ordinance number 18-1366 as stated. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next item on the agenda is approval of special ordinance number 18-579, an ordinance authorizing execution of an indenture of access for property adjacent to Highway 197 and Lone Pine Boulevard. I'm really interested to hear a little bit more about it. Is that yours?
I read it and I can't.
Yeah, me too.
figure out
I
why.
figured it out either.
Well,
Staff report.
okay, I will try to, as much as I know, that this is the term that ODOT, the Oregon Department of Transportation, uses in their agreements. As I understand, the purpose of this back in 1976, the Department of Transportation reserved access rights for a piece of property that was located on the west side of what they call the Dallas, California Highway. We commonly refer to as Highway 197 for a width of 60 feet. That essentially allowed access off of 197 for the area that is now the Lone Pine PUD. When that PUD was created in 1994, the city acquired a new right of dedication for a right-of-way that's in that same general area that includes Lone Pine Boulevard. And this is essentially a housekeeping measure that when they realigned the intersection, there was a need to have the reserved access rights that had been granted, have them match up with the new Lone Pine Boulevard. So they created this document, and that's the term that they use to establish this. This will be recorded once it's signed by the mayor and staff, but it's essentially just to get our access rights to match up the way with the current boulevard that's out there.
It's a corrected description of the access as it exists today.
Right, it essentially does away with those previous access rights, and the new access rights are actually even wider than the current one. It just matches up what's there.
A little bit wider.
Yeah, well, it's 70 feet, I think, perhaps, but it matches what's on the ground essentially.
Any questions of city attorney?
And we posted the notice of adoption of this ordinance also by title only, so
Right.
we can do that.
So at this time, is there anybody in the council who desires to have the ordinance read in full?
No.
City clerk, would you read the title of the ordinance only?
Special ordinance number 18-579, an ordinance authorizing execution of an indenture of access for property adjacent to Highway 197 and Lone Pine Boulevard.
Do I have a motion in that regard?
Move to adopt special ordinance number 18-579, authorizing execution of an indenture of access for property adjacent to Highway 197 and Lone Pine Boulevard by title only.
Second.
All right, been moved and seconded to adopt special ordinance number 18-579 as stated. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved, thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of Shears Sprayers hangar lease at Columbia Gorge Regional Airport. Whoever writes these really doesn't understand what it takes to say these. Okay, Steve.
I wrote that, so I guess I may ask Chuck to maybe step up.
I'm just
I'd like
kidding.
to see if he has any comments on the lease.
Chuck?
I did write the staff report, so if it was wrong, Chuck can blame me, but,
Mr. Colbert.
Can I say, ask one thing, Attorney Parker? I'm very good friends of the Shears. Do I abstain?
again, just the fact of the friendship by itself would not create a conflict of interest. It would be if there was some direct financial benefit to you from this lease, which I trust there would be, because it's a lease with the city and the county and Shears, so, yeah.
I
The
just
friendship
wanted it
itself
clear.
doesn't create that. It's
I just
more
wanted
the-
it clear.
I understand that. And I think we did circulate a revised, slightly revised version of the lease tonight. I apologize that came to you rather late, that the comments came in from Mr. Shearer's attorney, but we were able to address his concerns. They were somewhat minor in nature. It's essentially just specifying the parties on the first page and moving down a description of the hangar in the paragraph below that, and then clarifying about the tax issue, which his attorney was satisfied with, and Clickitat County's attorney was also satisfied with the revised language, so we'll ask you to approve.
But the city always had ultimate responsibility for
That's correct.
Just wanted it stated in the
Right,
agreement.
Mr. Shearer was concerned that it made it look like he was gonna have to pay those
Right.
taxes ultimately, and that really isn't the situation, but his share that's being imposed is being covered by his rent, so
Right.
he's paying in a sense, but the ultimate responsibility lies with the city and with the county on that. Back in December of 1987, the original lease the city had with Shearer Sprayers was for ground space, and there was a hangar that Mr. Shearer had constructed. That lease expired in December of last year, and under the lease, there was a provision that on expiration, the hangar would become the property of the city of Clickitat County. So we've now negotiated a new lease, which is before you tonight. It's based primarily on the flex space hangar lease, because it's kind of a template. It's proposed for the initial term for a 5-year lease at the rate of $1,200 per month. As with other leases, the city and county will be responsible for major repairs and capital repairs and maintenance of the fences and landscaping and grounds on the premises. Shearer Sprayer will pay their utility costs. There is an option to renew the lease for just a 5-year term, but the amount of the rent would be negotiated at 5 years, so we're not locked in $1,200 to the airport board and council, and the city will probably weigh on an increase. As I mentioned, the Quick County has approved the lease, their legal counsel, and Mr. Shearer's legal counsel has approved the revised lease. The airport board, I understand, I think is pretty much given their blessing to it.
Yes, no, they are all in agreement.
Okay, any questions of city attorney or Mr. Colbert? Right. So we have a recommendation to approve the hangar lease, so I have a motion in that regard.
I can go ahead and move to approve the hangar lease with Shearer Sprayers Incorporated and authorize the mayor and city staff to sign the lease.
I'll second.
All right, been moved and seconded to approve the hangar lease from Shearer Sprayers Inc. and authorize the mayor and city staff to sign the lease. Is there any discussion?
This is a substantial realignment of the original lease, and it's positive. The outcome is
And
very
it's
positive.
something that the airport commission that you sit on
Yes.
has gone through and been
Yes.
aware of?
Yes, and it was unanimously approved.
All right. Been moved and seconded to approve the hangar lease for Shearer Sprayers. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's approved.
Good job, Chuck. We could have done it better.
Next item, approval of resolution number 18-009, a resolution approving the enterprise zone tax abatement agreement between the sponsors of the Dallas, Wasco County Enterprise Zone and GBHD LLC.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and members of council. Before
Please.
you have my agenda staff report on the proposed enterprise zone abatement agreement with GBHD LLC under Michael Leash. This is for a hotel in the downtown core and is eligible under the special cases category of the enterprise zone. My agenda staff report outlines the details of the development as well as the criteria that we use to determine eligibility and craft the agreement that goes into place. That's using resolution 17-026 as well as the up-to-date guidelines from the state of Business Oregon. And my motion is to approve the agreement pending approval from Wasco County, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Do you know when it goes before Wasco County?
It's set for early April.
Oh, okay. All right, any questions? Do I have a motion in that regard?
Oh, I haven't.
Move to adopt resolution number 18-005, approving an extended enterprise zone tax abatement agreement between the sponsors of the Dalles Wasco County Enterprise Zone and GBHD LLC, pending approval by the Wasco County Board of Commissioners.
A point of clarification, I believe it's 18-009, but
18-005 is what it says on ours.
Here, but it's 9 here.
Is it 9?
all of my stuff says 9.
This is fine.
It is 9.
I will correct that to be 009.
Okay.
I apologize,
Second,
that's
accept
staff
that.
error.
Who seconded it?
I'll second,
Okay, do you accept that amendment?
as amended.
Okay. All right, it's been moved to adopt resolution number 18-009, approving an extended enterprise zone tax abatement agreement between the sponsors of the Dalles Wasco County Enterprise Zone and GBHD LLC, pending approval by the Wasco County Board of Commissioners. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is City Council local grant recommendation for fiscal year 2018 and 19. Is that you?
It's me.
It is you.
I'm a little scared. So, Honorable Mayor and City Council, you have before you a spreadsheet that lists all of the grant applications that we received. I have highlighted the ones that I feel don't qualify because they missed something in their submission. And then there are ones that are in pink that there's 2 of them in pink, that while I recommended go ahead to do it, I really think council needs to decide what criteria they want. Do they want to continue refunding certain programs or not? The
So
total,
that could be a discussion later, can it?
it can indeed.
Okay. I was questioning in my mind as I read through this, and there are a number of people who failed to submit a budget. Does the application state there's a detailed budget?
Yes, it asks for a detailed budget.
So the only thing that, since the total amount is available is 25,000, and their total amount recommended is only 20,345, I'm just wondering if the council would consider adding the old St. Peter's landmark request for 3,000 pending a budget submitted.
How would that be fair for the other people that failed to?
It just seems like something that's been going on for a long time, and it has a lot of value for the whole community. I understand what you're saying.
No, I mean, I agree.
You can reject it.
It's a very worthwhile project. It's just that, you know, I think we've put the rules in place and without either rearranging the rules or bending them terribly, I just don't think it'd be
Well,
appropriate.
the problem I have is that we've authorized 25,000, and here we're not spending all of it, and it seems to me that, yes,
25,000 was the cap. Last year, we didn't have $25,000 worth. This year, you have $56,000 worth. It's difficult for me, like Counselor Brown was saying, to change the rules.
Okay.
Because how do you change the rules?
I don't have any vested interest. It just seemed to me that there's been so much work on the old St. Peter's landmark that maybe that would be a viable.
Well, and in the past, they've been funded through the Urban Renewal Agency.
Right?
Okay, so, are you saying that the Sister City request not to do that? Or is that part of the 20,000?
I have it in your total, but I did think you should think about that because the city already supports them, and this
Well,
seemed
this
like a
is some-
fundraising thing.
No, actually, this is a little different because it is to do a memorial to the Sister City Association. And it would be a one-time mask for this type of thing. And as far as the fundraising goes, the fundraising for Sister City is for the delegates to go to Japan, to Miyoshi. And it's on those students to fundraise for that. So I'm requesting that that remains.
And it is in your total.
Yeah, yeah, I just wanted to be specific about it.
So what is this memorial gift? It will be built in Japan.
No, here, and we're trying to find an area where it's been looked at, doing out at the visitor center at the dam, where tourists from all over come to visit, or in a park area, there'd be a bench and hopefully to plant a cherry tree.
The confusion comes.
Do you have anything more to add?
But it's just a one-time, it's a 30th anniversary.
It says memorial gift to Miyoshi City, but I understand now, so it would be located here.
Right.
It has that been determined what it's going to be?
Bench and a cherry tree.
Okay, that's.
And a plaque.
And a plaque.
And a plaque.
All right, I understand that. I want to go back to the old St. Peter's landmark. Is there anyone that's, what happened? Why didn't the budget get submitted with the application?
It's not for us to go out and get additional information. It's very specific in the application. Sorry, I didn't mean to speak for you, but it's
That's okay.
very specific what you have to submit. All these other people did follow the rules, so it would be very inappropriate to go back and say, well, even though you didn't follow the rules, you get money.
Understood.
That's.
Yeah, I just wanted to check.
And I'm sure that was an oversight.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
I'm sure it was, yes.
I'm sure it was,
Yeah.
but nonetheless.
And I understand. And I will bring that up at the next.
Is there,
board meeting.
and there was a drop dead date?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Now, one more question before the
Rules are
firework.
rules.
The request from the firework committee, that wasn't part of these funds.
Correct,
That's above and beyond.
correct.
Okay.
Stepper.
Can citizens ask any questions at this time?
You know, I've always made sort of a ruling that, you know, we're gonna be a little bit flexible. Go ahead and ask your question.
My question to the sister city is, we destroyed the first monument when they put in the roundabout.
There was one?
Oh, sure, it used to be right there where the split of this, oh, come on, you don't remember the name of the sister city that was there? Oh, yes, it's just like you destroyed the Wasco County destroyed the Old Oregon Trail at,
I don't
Tent
remember.
and,
It said Ikeda, which is no longer our sister city. I think that's why it was.
oh, you changed sister cities? Oh.
Our
Yeah.
sister
Oh.
city changed itself.
Oh, okay, all right, my fault.
Good question, though. Yeah.
A quick, it seemed to me to recall that one of those was underfunded, and if you wanted to expend the whole 25,000, you could raise the funding on that.
I think, again, what the city manager said is this goal is a cap. So, no, I don't know that that's with enough, and I've been told there are rules. I'm gonna follow the rules. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve grant funds as indicated on the matrix contingent on budget approval to be effective July 1, 2017.
Second.
All right.
17?
2018.
I mean 18. Jeez.
Sorry.
So there's been a motion and second to move to approve grant funds as indicated on the matrix, contingent on the budget approval, and to be effective July 1, 2000, and it says 17 here.
Yes, it does.
Sorry.
July 1, 2018. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, nothing else for the good of the order. This meeting is adjourned.